Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and World of Warcraft Shadowlands is a real expansion. Now, I've had lots of skepticism about the name Shadowlands, about Bolvar as Lich King with the screenshot that was leaked, but it turns out this is the real expansion. But we had really no idea what Shadowlands really was going to be, or at least I never really had any idea in what Blizzard was going to make it. It is, of course, turned out a little bit different than what some of the leaks have provided, but either way, I'm super stoked and super excited. In this video, I want to go over everything that is going to be in Shadowlands that we know so far from the initial announcements. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to Shadowlands, and I'll make videos on separate parts of Shadowlands, but in this video, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of what is to be expected for now in the new expansion. The theme for Shadowlands is going to be the afterlife, and the whole zone is going to be constructed kind of like with the ideals of different types of afterlife that might be perceived in the World of Warcraft universe. So most of the areas will be split up into 4 zones with a main city hub. You have Bastion, where you have more Valkyr-like beings and their covenant. Then you have Maldraxxus with Necrolords, which at one point served as Lich King's army, which is where Lich King was able to get some of the toughest spirits, the biggest fighters, the strongest of the strong, to serve in his army. You also have the Ardenwald, which is more of a resting place for rebirth, but also where you might see a little bit of the Drustvar influence. And then we have the Revendreth, which are part of the Vanthyr Covenant. I'm actually very excited about these guys just because they look so cool. Their whole structure and the environment is very Transylvania, very vampire-esque, very Dracula-esque, and I just love the environment. And what comes with all these covenants are different benefits. For example, your character is eventually supposed to choose one of these covenants at the end of the gameplay at level 120. You're supposed to commit yourself to a covenant after getting to know them throughout your questing experience, at least the first time on your main character. And after you decide which covenant you want to commit to, you get different benefits, like different types of armor, different types of abilities. Some of these abilities will even be class abilities, so that's like 4 different rogue abilities for me to choose from. So there's got to be benefits for you to choose, whether you like the environment or the style. And also, every single one of these covenants is supposed to have their own war campaign. Of course, it won't be called war campaign, but on a scale, it'll be very similar to the Battle for Azeroth war campaign. The length and the scale of the story and everything that goes on. The idea for now with these covenants is to have characters commit to a covenant. So the idea is you wouldn't be able to switch them out on the fly. Although you do have covenants that give you class abilities, so the balancing for this could be a little bit wonky. Blizzard might change the restrictions on these covenants at a little bit later time, but for right now, that's the idea, is to have a committed covenant and all the different rewards, from mounts to abilities to travel abilities and more. So we'll have to see what kind of rewards they have and the balancing for the abilities and see what every single class gets first. But I'm super excited to see what everybody ends up getting. Also in Shadowlands, legendaries will be coming back into the game. Legendaries were a great way for you to use gear in order to alter the gameplay of your character. Hell, it's another extra passive for your character to play around, so it can give depth to characters. And in Legion, while legendaries were very RNG, which isn't fun, they are losing the RNG factor in Shadowlands, so you'll be able to craft specific legendaries that alter your character in different ways. So the idea is you can start with the best legendaries for your character, and then you can craft the rest to collect them all if you wanted to. So by taking out the RNG element, you're adding the good part about legendaries, taking out the bad part, which I think is a right step in the right direction and an interesting design choice. You also will be doing a level switch for Shadowlands. Right now we're max level 120, but come Shadowlands, the leveling experience will be changed, where it will be squished to level 50. So the max level that we are at 120 in Shadowlands once the expansion is released will be level 50. And in Shadowlands, we will level all the way to level 60. In a sense, this is a way for Blizzard to reset the experience because we have so many levels that we gain. One of the things I mentioned is sometimes as you are leveling past level 50 or 60 into 70, 80, 90, 100, in 110 from 120, you don't unlock any new extra abilities, so some levels just feel meaningless compared to classic World of Warcraft, where it feels like every level you get something new and something exciting to look forward to. So they want to adjust the structure, which means adjusting the experience and the quality of the experience, but they also want to change how you end up leveling through World of Warcraft. The way they want to adjust the leveling experience in Shadowlands is you will be able to choose from level 10 to 50 to level in any expansion. And if you complete the full storyline of that expansion, it should get you pretty close to at level 50. That means if you decided to add your level 10 to go and level in Legion, with the scaling technology, they're able to scale Legion quests to you. So if you complete everything, storyline from Legion, all the zone storyline, you should be close to level 50. If you wanted to straight up go to Battle for Azeroth and level in Zuldazar or Kultiras, you're more than welcome to. If you decide to level in Pandaria or, God forbid, Warlords of Draenor, you're more than welcome to. Maybe you want to relive Wrath of Lich King for a bit, or BC, or Kata, you're more than welcome to level in any expansion. So this is a cool idea. I don't know how long it will really take for us to get through the full experience of leveling that character, but if it's about as long as it took for me the first time around to level my character from 110 to 120 through BFA, then that'll actually be a reasonable amount of time. You're able to go through an expansion, through a story, complete everything, and then you're able to jump straight to the next expansion, which I feel like is a better system than having to slug through this bit of content, the next bit of content, the next bit of content. Most of the times people will just find a faster method to just grind XP, like jump into islands or spam dungeons. So just to get through a story in an expansion, or maybe do half of this and half of that, I feel like is another good way of just going about it to really close the gap on the experience. And hopefully this makes the leveling experience and getting abilities a lot more exciting. There's still more to see in terms of how they structure things, but I think this is a really good idea. But you guys let me know in the comments. In Shadowlands, Blizzard also wants to add a lot more customization for characters of the vanilla variety, so trolls, dwarves, humans, undead, and more. And they revealed only a little bit at BlizzCon and a lot more to come. But the new war paints for trolls look insane. The war paints for dwarves look great. The undead, you can even choose to be more fleshy rather than bone, and even some changes to the human facial features. This is quite cool. I mean, you can finally be a wild hammer dwarf if you so choose to. If you want to be a specific tribe of the trolls, you're more than welcome to mimic it. Or if you want to have an undead with more human bits or a more, I guess, relatable setup, less spooky, less bones, you're more than welcome to do that as well. This is quite cool. The amount of customization is going to be crazy, and Blizzard wants to continue on with even more customization when it comes to your gear. During the BlizzCon, they talked about maybe adding for a specific piece of gear, like the ones from Bastion. If you choose their Covenant, you get maybe a different types of cloak, like wings on your back. Maybe a halo hovering behind you, spinning with some lights. They wanted to take the design of different elements and different things that our characters can wear. When you think of the Tauren and the massive totem that goes on the back, it isn't a cloak, it is an actual item that sits on our back. So why don't they play around with more of these types of features? So it seems that in this expansion we'll have even more customization options that will be added at a later time. This is all very exciting with how much customization they're adding to our characters, how much customization they're adding to our armor, the different types of armor and customization you can get depending on which covenant you choose from. And this is just the bare bones of it. We haven't even talked about any class changes, which are yet to be detailed. They will have a presentation on the 2nd where they talk more into a deep dive, and I'm hoping to watch that presentation to really see more information. Past that, of course, at the very beginning they will have 8 dungeons, 4 to level through, and 4 are going to be more endgame. One of the dungeons will actually have us meet Bon Samedi yet again, even though, you know, Battle for Azeroth isn't over yet and we just got acquainted with the guy. We'll get to meet him all over since he is connected to the Shadowlands. The dungeons and raids in Shadowlands look amazing, by the way. Just the type of artistic creation that they have is incredible, and it's super exciting to see what kind of different environments we'll be playing in. And the art team has always been able to make anything look amazing, so with this new expansion and how amazing things look so far, I cannot wait to actually be able to play it. Besides dungeons and raids, Blizzard wants to expand more on the Mage Tower idea. We're actually getting a Mage Tower-like experience in patch 8.3, so this is going to be yet another one after 8.3, another Mage Tower experience called Tower of the Damned. The idea is you climb this tower that can be climbed almost infinitely, and it gets harder and harder and harder the higher you climb. The higher you climb, the more difficult the enemies get, and you get different effects happening. For example, the rooms, as Blizzard described, sometimes don't behave how they're supposed to when it comes to how gravity should work or how the natural order of things should work. So it should be an experience that you can do with other people. Of course, it's supposed to have a variety of different rewards as well as cosmetics. They also want to make professions a little bit less RNG and a little bit more inclusive, I guess is the best way to put it. Because professions kind of suck right now. Sometimes you'll be a blacksmith or a leather worker and you'll craft yourself a pair of pants that'll give you randomized stats. Sometimes the stats are the worst. Like you need haste, but all you get is mastery and verse. So then you remake the pants. You scrap them, take the scraps, make the new pair of pants, and it gives you crap stats yet again. The Blizzard thought, what if instead of having you randomize your stats, instead, when you craft the item, put in a haste gem and a crit gem, and bam, pop out haste crit pants. So they want to make more sane decisions, so as professions. I'm not a profession guy, so I can't really talk about it in detail, but man, does that feel really, really lame when I'm trying to craft a piece of loot and I don't get the stuff that I need, I don't get the stuff that I want. So good thing that they're removing some RNG out of the game. Another focus of this expansion going forward is to create more class identity rather than spec identity, as some specs in the game can feel like a whole nother class on its own. So on November the 2nd, they'll be doing more of a deep dive on some of the class stuff. I want to talk about it as soon as I can. Right now, for this video, all we have is good news that yes, they want to address some of the class issues of class identity, but so far, nothing on the front. Also, if you're a Death Knight, then you might be happy to know that allied races and even Pandaren are added as a Death Knight alternative for every race in the game right now. And it's gonna be happening during Shadowlands, but I believe that if you pre-order Shadowlands, you get access to allied race Death Knights and Pandaren Death Knights earlier. I could be wrong, it could be a specific version of the game that lets you access it, but with Shadowlands, that should be one of the features, which I think should be pretty exciting if you're someone who is a Death Knight and let's say you played a human for a while or an orc and you want to try out one of the allied races. Although with the new character customization, maybe you might be less inclined to do so. Either way, super exciting. Overall, Shadowlands is looking amazing, it's looking incredible, and I cannot wait to see it for myself and play it for myself. It's looking amazing, guys. I cannot wait until the beta or the alpha of this expansion and test everything out and show you guys every bit of detail, because that's all I want to do. I want to show you guys everything that there is to see with this new expansion. It's looking so good. It's looking so fresh. I think Blizzard has the right ideas in mind, and hopefully they'll simply be able to follow through with these ideas. A lot of the community feedback is going to be necessary to adjust certain parts of this expansion, but so far, I think they got a really good base. Super excited, super happy with what they got going on so far. But you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Shadowlands is looking kind of awesome, and I cannot wait to cover it more. Thank you all, and I'll see all of you in another video.